Good morning, grade 8. We are now in the continuation part of the digestive system. We are still in the minerals, right? Vitamins, we are done with vitamins last meeting, and we need to continue with minerals. By the way, let's take this little by little, simply because a lot of you just bump to these terminologies. Okay, if I am the student, I can really understand why. We had discussed this one a lot of times when I was still in college. That is why. So I digested much about these terminologies. But then again, I adjusted the lesson for you. Okay, that is why it is chopped little by little in order for you also to fully understand the topic. By the way, we are discussing this one not just for the paper pencil or for the lesson itself or for the purpose of having a grade. No, we are discussing this one for you to use in your daily lives, right? I am training you to become lifelong learners rather than short-term learners. Okay, you know what I mean. Short-term learners, these are learners that after discussing, after the lesson, after the grade has been made, and there you go, back to zero. No, you need to incorporate this one in your daily lives, right? Let's tackle minerals. What's with the minerals, okay? Minerals are inorganic elements, and like vitamins, they also cannot be manufactured in our body. Yes, we cannot manufacture minerals, okay? Although minerals do not provide the body with the energy that we need, each mineral, however, plays an important role in the body's metabolic processes, okay? These are only some of the minerals we need in our diet. We need calcium, number one. Calcium is being used in our bones, okay? Calcium is being absorbed by the body for the formation of bones, and it should be aided with vitamin D or the calciferol, okay? In order for us to absorb calcium. Without calciferol, calcium will not be absorbed by the body. Iodine, this is to prevent the disease in your throat, no? Iodine also plays a vital role in metabolism, especially with um your the area in your throat. Okay, iron. Iron plays a vital role in the formation of red blood cells or the hemoglobin. Okay, iron plays a vital role also in carrying oxygen to the process of oxidation. Magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, sulfur, and so on, and also zinc. Okay, calcium, for example, is essential in the building of bones. Yes, hi, good morning. Please turn on your camera. Let me check on the camera. Hi, Adam. Rhea. Greg Ramirez. Hi. Kalina still joining? If you have question, please raise it directly. You can interrupt anytime. Hi, Kalina. How are you doing? Please turn on your camera. Calcium, for example, is essential in building our bones and teeth. Okay. Lack of calcium can lead to condition called osteoporosis. This is the brittle, okay, characterized by painful, weak, and brittle bones. Right? Are you familiar with osteoporosis already? Have you heard osteoporosis?
No.
Okay. Other term for osteoporosis is decalcification. Okay. The withdrawal of calcium in the body. So usually, this happens to the elderly. The elderly already withdrawn their calcium in their body. So this is why they become weaker in terms of bone densities. Okay. The bone densities now becomes weaker. Tendency is it will what? The body will bend. Okay. Because the bones there, especially the spinal cord, withdraws its calcium in the body. That's the reason behind. Okay. Osteoporosis occur at any age. As of the moment, yes, it's true. Okay. Even younger ages can have osteoporosis, but It is common in women who have reached menopause or the menopausal stage of women. Remember that women has monthly period. Okay, when you have monthly period, you actually excrete a lot of calcium and you excrete also a lot of iron. That is why on the onset of a menstruation, you can actually see a lot of blemishes in your skin. No? A lot of lagum-lagum in the skin. That is because you are withdrawing a lot of calcium and you are withdrawing also a lot of iron. That's the reason behind. Okay. Another mineral, iron, helps in the formation of hemoglobin. Okay, which is necessary in the transport of oxygen. Why? Remember that iron yields with oxygen. Without iron, oxygen cannot be transported. It yields with oxygen. That is why. Severe iron deficiency may lead to anemia. Okay, this is a condition wherein the number of red blood cells, or the RBC, or the quantity of hemoglobin in the body is very low. Anemic. Okay, anemia. Water. Water, our bodies are composed of approximately 70% water. Even our brain, right? A person can survive for a long time without food, correct? But without water, a person can die within days due to dehydration because your organs are using a lot of water. Okay. Besides the regular water that we drink, water can also be found in food that we eat, especially with the fruits and veggies, which provide us with a good supply of water. Okay. What's with the water? Water helps in digestion, and it is a big help in preventing constipation. Remember that when your feces or fecal matter stays in your colon for a long period of time, your colon absorbs a lot of water. And there you go. It can cause constipation. It will be hard to defecate, right? It also acts as a lubricant of the membranes that surrounded the body or surround the body organs. Okay. Water also acts as a body's coolant. That is why if you feel hot, if you feel really hot inside your body, or you feel that there is heat underlying in your body, you need to drink water. Okay. Water acts as a coolant in your body. When it is hot and humid, body heat is released, and when we perspire, body heat also is released. Okay. Again, water acts as a body's coolant in order for us to feel cool, right? Because we lose water from many factors such as breathing, sweating, and even waste elimination, we have to replenish our body with a supply of water by drinking at least 8 glasses of water per day. Are you drinking 8 glasses of water per day?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Who else? It's really good to have a habit of drinking water rather than soft drinks. Again,
Sure.
yes.
Ours we measure with like botilya every day.
Oh, that's good. Okay. You drink a lot of water rather than soft drinks. Why? Okay, for your soft drinks, it contains carbonated or carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide mixed with water, the same thing happens. It will become carbonated. Okay, but then again, one factor that makes soft drinks really dangerous is the aspartame. Okay, aspartame is the magic sugar. Okay, it is the magic sugar, and based on research, aspartame can cause cancer. It is carcinogenic. This is the reason why there are a lot of cancer patients nowadays are really prone to are really drinking these soft drinks for a long period of time. Okay, we have all cancer cells, to tell you honestly. Okay, it is called oncogenes. Oncogenes are inactivated cancer cells. Teacher, how can this be activated? This can be activated by these carcinogens or cancer-causing agents. Carcinogens. just like your aspartame, your soft drinks. Okay. Peptic ulcer, for example, that's one good example. It can be actually activated by drinking soft drinks. Okay. Colon cancer also can be activated by drinking these carcinogens. Right? We can also get water from other foods or food items like fruit juice or juices and drinks. Okay. Structures and functions of the digestive system. Let's move now to the digestive system proper, right? Digestion begins when we put food into our mouth. Okay. Again, where does digestion happen first? Where does digestion happen first? Anybody? Are you still with
When we
me, grade
put
8?
food into your mouth.
Correct. Okay. There you go. Thank you, Eliazar. When you put the food in your mouth, that's where digestion happens first, in the mouth. Okay? Digestive tract is a very long tube measuring approximately 30 feet or 90 meters, begins from the mouth and ends at the anus or anus. Since digestion happens first, or the first step in the digestion happens in the mouth, let's take a look at the structures of the digestive system. Mechanical breakdown of food mainly occurs in the mouth. Mechanical. When you say mechanical, there is a what? There is the action of breaking the food into pieces by the teeth. Okay? Mechanical breakdown of food mainly occurs in the mouth when our teeth break or tear the food into several pieces to facilitate or easier digestion. Okay, again, digestion starts at the mouth. Okay, this is why the importance of a set of healthy teeth comes in because we need to masticate. Masticate, that's the other term, that's the medical term for chewing. Okay, mastication. Okay, the action of chewing or grinding the food. Okay, again, this is the medical term, mastication. That's the scientific term, masticate. Okay, our food well in order to facilitate easier digestion. Okay, there are different types of teeth that have their specific functions. Number one is the incisors and canines. Incisors and canines are used to bite and tear down food. Canine, sir, have you heard about canine? The molars have also the large surface area that helps in grinding the food, the bagang itself, okay? This is the pangil, okay? And the bagang. The tongue, a strong muscular organ that aids in moving the food around the mouth while we chew, okay? The three salivary gland also plays a vital role for digestion, especially with carbohydrates, okay? The submandibular, the three salivary gland, we have the parotid, number one. The second is submandibular. And the third one is sublingual. Okay. They are actually named according to where they are located. Okay. Secrete saliva, which helps soften the food. Saliva also contains an enzyme called salivary amylase, which help in the digestion or initial digestion of carbohydrates to its simpler component. So again, as what I am telling you a while ago, that digestion starts at the mouth. Okay, starts at the mouth, digestion of carbohydrates or breaking down of carbohydrates into pieces or into simpler components, right? With the aid of the salivary amylase. Okay, that's an enzyme which reacts to carbohydrates to break down into some simpler components. Okay, now if you're going to look at your salivary gland, you have actually three salivary gland there. This is the parotid, submandibular, okay, This is below your mandible. If this is your mandible, your submandibular gland is below it. And of course, the sublingual gland. Okay? Below your tongue. You can see your sublingual gland. Okay? It is actually connected to salivary gland ducts. It secretes saliva if there is a food. That is why if you're actually putting your food in your mouth, tendency is you will actually salivate. This is the action of your 3 salivary glands, right? Or if you can see food, delicious foods, tendency is you're actually creating more saliva because your brain now dictates that this is your food. Okay. Now, for the teeth, as you can see, the canine or the canine is in here. Okay. Canine, the pangil, and the molar is in here. Okay. The area here. This is for grinding. Okay. Canine is for tearing. Okay. We tear and we grind food in our mouth using our teeth. Right? Do you have any questions so far?
No.
All right.
No.
Again, please ask questions. I want you to be interactive because these are terminologies. Please take note of the terminologies, right? Let's take this little by little. Pharynx. Okay. From the mouth to the act of swallowing. Okay. Food now goes down to the pharynx. Okay. Which is more popular known as your throat. Okay. The pharynx is the tiny lined hollow muscular tube which is found behind the mouth and before the esophagus. Okay. The purpose of having pharynx is for the food to flow. Remember that your pharynx is a passageway. Picture. How about air? Air will pass also in the pharynx or in the larynx. Okay. What is the difference between pharynx and the larynx? Okay. Your pharynx is a muscular tube which is found behind your mouth, while your larynx is considered as your voice box. This is the center where air is actually passing through. This is also the center for voice creation. Okay. Your larynx also creates what? Vibration, which creates now sound. Okay. That is it. That is why it is called as the sound box, a voice box of the human body. Okay. Esophagus. After pharynx, food now passes in a smaller but longer muscular tube called the esophagus. This is the passage of what? Passage of food. Okay, this is the passage of food. Its job is simple. It acts as a conveyor of food from the pharynx to the stomach. Okay. This is made possible through the movement called peristalsis, okay, or peristaltic movement. This is a tiny movement, tiny rhythmic wave-like contractions of the tubular structures in the digestive tract, which moves food to the different secretions of the digestive system. Okay, peristalsis or peristaltic movement is the movement of your what? Digestive tract. This is to move the food around. Okay, without peristalsis, tendency is choking might happen. Okay. Do you have any question? Question so far?
No.
Okay. Let's move now to the stomach. From the esophagus, food now is deposited in the stomach. Okay. The enlarged sac-like portion of the digestive tract, it is composed of strong layers of muscles and it is the principal organ of digestion. But take note, the real digestion or the actual digestion happens in the small intestine rather than the stomach. Okay, what's with the stomach? Okay, the peristaltic movement and churning action of stomach muscles further crushes and mashes the food. The different gastric enzymes act on the food, helping in the digestion of food further. The gastric juices or juice is produced by the gastric glands found in the lining of the stomach. Okay, the following are the components of gastric juice. Okay, these are the components. Number one is pepsinogen. Okay, pepsinogen is a zymogen, or this is a zymogen, an inactive protein precursor of any enzyme converted into its active form by an acid that is produced by the chief cells of the stomach to transform into pepsin. Okay, pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. Okay, again, your stomach needs to be acidic. Why? It needs to convert pepsinogen into pepsin, and pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. Okay, if you eat meat, you cannot digest it directly. Okay, you need pepsin in order to digest the protein, the meat that you eat. Okay, zymogen. Zymogen is an inactive protein precursor for any enzyme which converted into active form by an acid. The active form is called proenzyme. Okay, don't worry, these are just terminologies, right? When you say zymogen, this is a precursor. Okay, this is a precursor to activate enzyme. Okay, the active form of this is the proenzyme. Okay, it will help in the activation of enzymes, right? Hydrochloric acid, HCl. Okay, are you familiar with hydrochloric acid? This is common in the laboratory. If you have tried laboratory or the experiments, it is really common. Hydrochloric enzyme or HCl is equivalent to your muriatic acid. Okay, it is equivalent to your muriatic acid, but your muriatic acid is highly industrialized, meaning to say it is not pure. Okay, the HCl that we are talking about now is more what? More pure. Okay, it is more pure. It is strong than the muriatic acid that you have. Okay, this is better known as the stomach acid and is produced by the parietal cells of the stomach. Okay, do you have any question?
No.
Okay. Hydrochloric acid functions as an activator of pepsinogen to pepsin, right? And it is essential in destroying whatever microorganisms left in the food. Sure. How about those microorganisms that cannot be killed by acid? Yes, there are some microorganisms that cannot be killed by an acid. Okay. And this will just flow in your GIT or gastrointestinal tract, right? Again, it is essential for destroying microorganisms left in the food. At the same time, it is an activator for the pepsinogen to make or to be converted into pepsin. Okay? Sure. Question. Do you have any question? Question?
No.
How about how can the stomach prevent self-digestion? Since this is acid, correct? This is acid, right? Okay. Some bacteria cannot be destroyed by this hydrochloric acid simply because they are called acidophilus or acidophiles. Okay, acidophiles, you cannot destroy them. They are actually protected with those acids. And our stomach has its own protection, okay, against self-digestion. Our stomach has what? A lining of mucosa or mucous lining. Okay, this prevents now self-digestion. It protects the stomach lining against self-digestion. But sometimes, if you're not eating in the right time, tendency is the amount of hydrochloric acid is higher and there is no food to digest. So what will happen next? It will actually damage your stomach lining. So here comes hyperacidity. Okay? Hyperacidity. So your lining now, your stomach lining becomes inflamed. Aside from that, it will actually create a wound in your stomach lining. Okay? So the term now becomes ulcer. Ulcer is a term used if you have a wound inside your body. That's ulcer. Okay. If it is caused by hydrochloric acid, sometimes it is coined as peptic ulcer. Okay. Let's move now to mucin or mucus. So it protects the stomach lining from the action of its own acid, the one that I'm telling you a while ago. Okay. Mucin is produced by mucous cells, your mucosa lining or mucus. Is also present in the esophagus to lubricate the food which is being pushed to the stomach. Okay. Are you familiar with mucus? Are you familiar with mucus? Huh?
No.
Yes, yes. Yes, Blair, correct. It is actually sipon. That's mucus. Okay. It is actually created or manufactured by the mucosa lining or mucin. Okay, number one, the purpose of having mucus is for the food to flow. That's number one. Number two, for the stomach, it acts as a protector, a barrier to prevent self-digestion. Okay, if you're going to look at this is your esophagus, this is your pharynx. Okay, the trachea is the area wherein air passes through, going to the lungs. Okay, and if you're going to look at also, esophagus is directly connected to your stomach. Okay, so this is now the layout. Do you have any question? Questions so
No.
far? Again, please ask question if there is. We still have 10 minutes, I think. Under normal conditions, food stays in the stomach for about 3 to 6 hours. Okay, again, they need to stay in the stomach for 3 to 6 hours. The purpose of that is in order for the stomach also to create those excretions. Okay, after food has been thoroughly digested mechanically and chemically, it is now in a semi-liquid form called chyme. Again, chyme composed of different chemicals. Okay, it is semi-liquid. It needs to be converted into chyme. Food needs to be converted into chyme. Why? Because digestion, later on, digestion, the actual digestion happens in the small intestine. That's what I'm telling you. Chyme now passes from the stomach to pylorus. Okay, pylorus is the end part of the connection between the small intestine and the end of your stomach. That's the pylorus, okay, which has a valve known as pyloric sphincter. Okay, when you hear the word sphincter, it is actually an area wherein a control area for something. Like for example, anal sphincter. Anal sphincter has, that's a control area for your excretion. in the anus. Okay, that's anal sphincter. This is pyloric sphincter. Pyloric sphincter, although this is involuntary, but this is the control area in the moving of your chyme. Okay? Then enters the first portion of the intestine called duodenum. Okay? From the esophagus going to the stomach, and the end of the stomach, you can actually see pylorus with the pyloric sphincter. Then going to the first portion of the small intestine, which is the duodenum. Right? Small intestine. Okay? The small intestines or intestine is divided into 3 sections. Okay? When spread out, it can measure as long as 20 to 30 feet. Okay? The villi is in the small intestine increases the surface area of absorption because, again, the actual digestion happens in the small intestine. The intestinal villi are tiny hair-like projections that protrude from the lining of the intestinal wall, okay, and helps the small intestine to absorb nutrients from the food. Okay, the first section, because we have 3 sections in the small intestine, the first section is the duodenum, okay, which produces enzymes and secretes hormones that signals the pancreas and liver to release their secretions. Okay, again, it produces enzyme and secretes hormones that signal the pancreas and liver to release their secretions. Later on, we will discuss about what are the secretions of this pancreas and liver, right? The second and the longest section is the jejunum or jejunum, okay? Jejunum is where the absorption mainly takes place, okay? Duodenum gives us an impression of the enzymes and help in the secretion or give signal to the secretion of pancreas and liver. Okay. The jejunum, on the other hand, this is where the absorption mainly takes place. Okay. This is the absorption mainly takes place. The last section is the ileum. Even though the absorption takes place here, not much for the jejunum. This is where the vitamin B12 and the bile are being absorbed. Okay, again, the absorption of vitamin B12 and bile is in the ileum. Okay, again, the duodenum is the place wherein it produces enzymes and secretes hormone that signals the liver and the pancreas to secrete their secretions. Okay, the jejunum is where the area where absorption takes place, or mainly absorption takes place. While the ileum, this is the end part of the small intestine wherein vitamin B12 and bile are being absorbed. Okay. So this is now the layout if you're going to look at it. Okay, this is the duodenum. Pyloric sphincter and pylorus is in here. Okay. It's in here. The end of stomach, which is the start also of the duodenum. Okay. Pylorus and pyloric sphincter is in here. This is your duodenum, the colored blue. Okay. Jejunum is in the center. The ileum is in the last part. Okay. The pancreas, which is found behind the stomach, plays a very important role in digestion. Okay. It functions both as an exocrine and endocrine. Sure, what are those? Why do we need to tackle endocrinology and exocrinology, or endocrine and exocrine glands? Okay, because your pancreas has 2 also functions. This is the 2 functions of the pancreas. As an exocrine gland, it secretes digestive enzyme, the lipase, which aids in the digestion of lipids or fats, amylase, which aids in the digestion of your carbohydrates, and your chymotrypsin. Okay, chymotrypsin that aid in the breakdown of fats, carbohydrates, proteins, and proteins. So chymotrypsin aids in the digestion of proteins and substantial amounts of bicarbonate ions that serves to neutralize stomach acid. After, okay, take note, after passing through the stomach to the pyloric sphincter and pylorus, the acid needs to be neutralized. Okay, that is why in the duodenum, aside from the pancreas and liver excreting the secretions, they also secrete what? Bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate ions to neutralize the acid, because it is already what? The pepsinogen is already converted into pepsin, and the rest are already activated. So it needs to be neutralized in order for the absorption to take place fluidly or efficiently. Okay, sure. So in the small intestine, it is not acidic anymore. Yes, in the small intestine, it is not acidic anymore. It is just in the stomach in order for us to create chyme. Okay, in order for us to activate what? To activate those hormones. Okay, its endocrine function is performed by the islets of Langerhans. Okay, which has 4 types of cell, 3 of which release important hormones. Okay, the islets of Langerhans. The alpha cells produce glucagon. Okay, please take note. The beta cells produce insulin. We are still in the pancreas. Okay, and the delta cells produce somatostatin. Okay, the last group is called C cells, which has no defined function. But I think in the previous I think this is because of the evolution of man. Previously, siguro, it is actually used by the primitive man. But because as we evolve, we tend to not use that one. But the 3 actually are very important secretions of the pancreas. Okay, let's take a look at insulin. Okay, are you familiar with insulin? Have you heard about insulin?
No.
How about diabetes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, insulin controls our blood sugar level by lowering the amounts of glucose in the blood. And if this function is impaired, this may result to a condition known as diabetes mellitus. This is your what? The common diabetes that